is the Big O Show.
Welcome aboard, baby. Time to rock and roll from the beautiful dealership that is Toyota of Hollywood. We'll be out here for some fun this afternoon on the 31st, on the day we get to kick out 2020. I think we've all had enough of 2020, right? I mean, it's like, it's one of those years we kind of want to forget and, you know, all the crap that went on. So we get to turn the page to 2021, and hopefully we'll get better news. As you all know, I'm sure most of you already know, major news today developing with the Dolphins, unfortunately, as Fitz gets COVID and now is out for the game on Sunday against the Bills. So now it's up to Tua, and it's all on him, and that's going to be a very interesting scenario now because, you know, you had the relief pitcher there. You had the Woodley-Strock combination in the modern day now with Fitz just in case because the youngin is still trying to figure everything out. And if he struggles, then you can get Fitz in there to bail you out. Well, they signed Jake Ruddick to the 53-man roster. They went through contact tracing. They figured out that Tua was not in any kind of danger. So that tells you also that the Dolphins did a really good job of keeping quarterbacks apart from each other. And those guys also did a good job themselves of not exposing each other. Not that they thought they would have it, but just in case. That's the way it's got to be, dude. I hang out with this dude every day, and we don't do it maskless. We do it with masks on.
You could see they were responsible. You saw them on the sidelines. Yeah. On the sidelines, those guys would wear their masks. Yeah. They were responsible.
Yeah, and so that's the good news that at least Fitzy and at least Tua did not get, what's it called, infected by Fitz.
Contamination.
Yeah.
No contamination.
Yeah, so it's actually really cool that that at least you have Tua there. But now it's – and let me tell you something. I love this. Because, see, I'm the guy that I'm not going to freak out if they don't beat Buffalo. I'm not going to think, oh, it's the same old Dolphins. I'm not going to do any of that. It's been an awesome season already for Miami, okay? They're only adding to an awesome season already. By winning 10 games, they have exceeded expectations. They have overachieved now. If somehow they win their 11th game, that's just ridiculous. They're not supposed to be doing this. And if they get to the playoffs, phenomenal. Okay? But if they don't and they end up losing this game, it's not going to be the end of the world for me, and I'm not going to look at the Dolphin season like it wasn't an incredible success. And the dynamics of all of this are going to be very interesting because the Bills are clearly going to play their players early on in this game. But they're going to have one eye on what's going on in Pittsburgh. Because if Cleveland takes hold of that game and takes a lead, and a comfortable lead, in the second half sometime, you're going to see Buffalo probably pull back and start resting players. Because Buffalo has to play so they can earn that second spot. Because they don't want to meet Kansas City until you get to the AFC Championship game. Plus, if Kansas City gets tripped up in the second round, then Buffalo has home field advantage all throughout the playoffs. And while home field advantage or home court advantage or home ice advantage is not the same anymore now during COVID because of the fan bases, you still have to travel to Buffalo and you still have to play in Buffalo weather and on the Buffalo field. So the Bills, or if you're the Dolphins or whatever, you want to use any kind of advantage you have. You know, the Celtics for years, it was always an advantage to play at the Garden, right? Because of the fan bases and all that.
No air conditioning.
But the floor was actually the parquet, as they used to call it back in the day, it had dead spots. And the ball did not bounce the same way all over the place. But if you're Larry Bird and you're Dennis Johnson, you know exactly where the dead spots are. But if you're the visiting team, you're not so in tune to it, so you may mishandle the ball a little bit because that wood has been used for so many years, and those players that worked on it every day, they knew exactly how to work around it. You know what I mean? So the Garden had its own little things, just like, let's say, the Houston Astros. Back in the day when they had that hill in center field, which was, I don't know whoever came up with that idea. Like, hey, yeah, that's a great idea. Let's have a hill in center field, and that'll be a challenge for the players. No, that's ACLs waiting to blow out, you idiot. Who wants a hill in baseball? But anyway, as I digress here, the Astros clearly had an advantage because they played every freaking day with that hill. And if you don't, you're not going to get used to it. So if you're the Bills, you want to play for home field advantage because the winter in Buffalo is different than the winter in Carolina or in Washington or maybe even New York. Because Western New York, you're right off the lake. And that I've been there. I've been there several times for games. And I've been there. I happen to go there every time when it's winter. Okay? Because it always seems that way, right? You play the Bills early in the season with the Heat for the advantage Miami, and then you always visit the Bills or the Jets late or the Patriots, and you're like, okay, yeah, which is our one or two winter games that we got to go up there, and so you always want any kind of advantage possible, and I think the Bills are going to try to take that advantage with them, but don't be surprised that in that second half, regardless of the score, because the Bills, as if they see that Cleveland is taking care of that game, which that's going to be really hard. I know that the Steelers are resting Big Ben, but the Browns have a whole bunch of cases of COVID. Hell, their facility right now is closed because they got 2 more cases today. That's a problem. You know what I mean? So maybe Cleveland will also be very weakened by that point. And, hey, listen, Pittsburgh was in the playoff race last year with a guy named Duck all the way to the end of the season. They didn't make it. They were just like, I think, a game out or something like that from the playoffs. I believe they missed it by a game. And that's without Big Ben. So they'll be out without Big Ben. Doesn't mean they can't be competitive. That whole saying, any given Sunday, that's the truth, man. That's the truth. So we'll see, but obviously now Fitzpatrick missing the game because of COVID. Hey, look, the good thing is it didn't spread because if you got to play Jake Ruddick as your starting quarterback, it takes the wind out of the sails of this entire game. You know what I mean? It's still a great season and it's over and they beat them and all that, but you don't want to see Jake Ruddick because you just don't feel like you have a shot there. With Tua, now he's got to respond. And the kid's always been good with pressure. This is great pressure now to have. This is how you build a quarterback, man. And that's what Flores, in a way, okay, let me take another angle to all of this. I bet you in a way, Brian Flores is kind of happy that Fitz is out. Not that he's happy that Fitz is out physically and going through COVID and all. Nobody wants that. We don't wish that on anybody, obviously. But he's the guy that threw him out against the Rams. He's the guy that said, no, you're starting against Kansas City. So he's not afraid to put the kid in a difficult position. Why? Because he wants the kid to learn. That's how you're going to learn. You got to fail to succeed. We've had that conversation before. And now you get to throw him against the Bills in literally a playoff type atmosphere because that's what it is for him. Now the question is, how motivated will the Bills be? But Tua's got to be extremely motivated now to try to get this done. So for Flo, he gets to put the guy in a position to see if he can succeed in a pressure situation where he can lead his team to a victory and get the 11th win of the season. Now, I've told you guys this in the past. I want the Bills at full strength. I would rather watch the Dolphins win or lose for 4 quarters against the Bills' complete team. Because if you do happen to pull out the victory, think about the message you're sending to the Bills. Like, okay, well, this is a young and up-and-coming team that still hasn't even finished rebuilding, and they're already beating us? Man, that's a hell of a challenge. So that, to me, that this whole thing for Brian Flores is a great opportunity to test his young quarterback. And think about this. It's Tua's rookie year. Did we ever imagine that in his rookie year he would be in a position where his team wins double digits and an opportunity for the playoffs? No. And a pressure-cooked game like this? No. We thought he was probably going to play a lot of, games that were important to him individually, but not really important to the team because they weren't going to be in a position to enjoy something, an accomplishment like the playoffs, like double digits. Well, they're experiencing all of that right now. And if somehow or another he wins, remember, Fitz just tested positive. So that tells me that you have 10 days. You may not be ready for the wild card game. So you may have. So Tua, if he wins this week, well, he was going to be your starter anyways next week. Break. You just don't know if he's going to finish. That's what it would. Well, guess what? Now he has to start and finish both. And again, this becomes great stuff. Now, let me give you the negative of all of this. Okay? Here's a guy playing for 17 years in this league. He has played in all kinds of teams, and he's never made the playoffs. And if Tua actually and company win on Sunday and they get into the playoffs, he will not be able to attend a game that he has worked his entire life to be at. Okay? You thought I was going to come up with something like disappointing for the Dolphins or the teams and the fans? No, I'm just talking about individually. I feel bad for Fitz. I do, because he's earned the right to play a little bit in that playoff game. He's earned the right to be on that sideline, coaching up Tua, bailing out his team. He's earned that right to be there. He's part of the reason why the Dolphins have 10 wins on the board. The Dolphins have a lot to be grateful for to Ryan Fitzpatrick being a part of this team. And Flores is the first guy to thank him and appreciate it for that. So let's not lose sight of that because we're kind of, we're Dolphin fans and we want what's best for the team, obviously, because that's what it's all about. But, have a little sympathy for the human being in Fitz who has worked his butt off to be in this position. And the sad part is he may not be cleared and healthy enough to be with the Dolphins if they make the playoffs next week. So the game he was waiting to be a part of for the first time in his life, he won't even be able to take part.
It's almost cruel.
Yeah.
It's almost cruel, man.
Yeah, the only thing.
All your career, here it is. Look what you did last week. And to have it pulled from your dude. What an ending for this year for him, man.
Only thing worse is De'Aaron King, who lost his dad. His mom had cancer, and now he blows out his knee. It's like, come on, please, dude.
ACL. I saw that a couple hours ago.
Can we just can De'Aaron King get a break, please? One person to go through all of that.
And you know what? 2 guys doing the right thing.
Yeah.
De'Aaron King wanting to be you,
and Fitz,
coming back.
2 exceptional leaders, 2 winners, 2 good people.
Deserve any good thing that would come their way.
Both
it
guys.
is.
Right. Both
and
guys.
to be snatched from their clutches.
Yeah. It's sad, man. It's sad. So remember, while all of this is going on, and even if you're enjoying the moment, like I hope we will be on Sunday, and I'll be doing the post-game show on Onside Radio, while you're enjoying that moment, and the Dolphins beat the Bills, remember what's going on with Fitz, man, because that's, I was thinking about that on my drive here, that the poor man is not going to be able to enjoy everything that he's worked for because he's probably not going to be cleared by then.
There's some cruel irony, bro.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. There's this. The 10 days will be right around during that game. So maybe if he has a few days of negative, then he can sneak in there. But let's hope for that. Let's hope for the start of 2021 that the Dolphins make the playoffs, and let's hope Fitz can actually be a part of something that he has worked for his whole life, man, because he certainly deserves it.
Going into this week, you almost feel like you've lost your safety net, right?
Right. Oh, yeah.
You're out there flying without a safety net, bro.
Yep. No doubt. Let's see. Lazy Lightsaber, and thank you for listening on Onside. He was checking in there, too. Julius 305, thank you for the Happy New Year's. Jean-Luc is in. Marino's Goat is in. The show is in. Damn Fitz has COVID. We lost poor Mariano Rivera. I like it. Matt Walker is in. Dennis Akers says, damn, I hope Fitz gets well soon. It's Tua time, brothers. Happy New Year's, fam. John Santos says, good afternoon, Owen Bill. I bet you Tua is going to have a breakout game against Buffalo. I would not be surprised if Tua plays a really good game against Buffalo. I'm with you, John Santos. I have a lot of hope that the kid is going to play a really good game because that's kind of who he is. And for the haters and for the non-believers and those people, I'm looking forward to those kind of games coming up, whether it's this week or next year, so he can shut people up and they can see that he has the goods. You know what I mean? It's just, I guess sometimes that if you're not 6'5", and you don't have this gun that can go 90 yards downfield, then you must not be able to be a quarterback. And it's just one of those things that if you don't look like you belong on the all-runway team, then all of a sudden they're going to be disappointed in you, which is just absolutely crazy.
History, his past, he's risen to every occasion. But the bigger the moment, the bigger the kid plays.
Yep. Tremolio says, prediction, Belichick retires in January of 2021. So you say he coaches one more year. Oh, no, you're saying he retires next month. Wow. Okay, let's see. It would be better to start Bowden or Perry before Ruddock. With Fitz out, hope Tua plays fearless on Sunday. I'd rather him make mistakes than play timid. I don't think it's a timid thing. I think it's a too careful thing. I don't think that kid is scared of anything. It's not timid. It's not nervous. It's not. I think he's just being too cautious of the football.
Control.
Yeah, he just
feels
doesn't
like
want to turn it over.
taking a chance that he's not in control.
Right, and so I don't think he's afraid of the moment or afraid of the throw. He just thinks the throw is irresponsible at the moment.
And let's be honest.
He doesn't want to risk it, and so that's where he's got to kind of let it rip a little bit more. But when you saw that stat this week, that he's like the second highest percentage of throwing passes in tighter windows than anybody else in the NFL. There's only one other guy before him. Then that kind of tells you that, he is taking chances. Also tells you the Dolphin receivers suck, that they get no separation.
With that defense, you don't take unnecessary risks. That's not what you're supposed to do, man.
Yeah, yep. Troy says Tua needs to show something this week. I think he will, man. I really do. If they go to the playoffs, I would like to see our D tag Tannehill. Well, that could happen. He doesn't see the rush coming. Jay Wall, the show is in. I think millions of dollars Fitz has made will mitigate the feeling of unhappiness. Come on, bro. The money he has, no one in this chat will ever have. Jay Walsh, my brother, I can tell you haven't been in locker rooms and you haven't dealt with athletes and coaches. Look, man, if we're talking about Carmelo Anthony, okay, the money comment is great. We're talking about Fitz, bro. And just to I'm going to play off your point now. He doesn't need this money. He's made enough money in his career that he can be retired, and yet he's coming back because he loves to play. Okay? I'll bet you this. If you tell him, Fitz, you have no COVID this week and you get to play the game, but you got to give back your game check, he'll go, here it is. I think you have a misplaced attitude about how some of these athletes are. They're not all about the money, man. Okay? The money it's a profession. So you want to get paid what you're supposed to get paid, so you have a representative like an agent to get you the money that you deserve. That's all. Now, we do have a certain section of players that are just about the money. Okay? Dion Waiters, just about the money. You know, some guys are like that. I agree with you on that. But Fitz, no way, dude. No way. No way. He's pissed. I'm telling you. No matter what money he has, he's pissed that he's missing it. Alex Rodriguez is in. Ray says, howdy, everybody. Orlando, I have a feeling the Bills will put their starters after pull their starters after 2 drives. Why risk Allen getting smacked by our defense and risk injury? Go Fins, win or lose, great season. You know, Ray, you bring up an interesting point. If you're if you're the coaching staff and you feel that the home advantage is not that big a deal and that your team can handle the road anyway, just in case you lose this game, then maybe you're right. But if that's the case, then they don't start him at all. I don't think you go in with the game plan, and this is where you and I are going to disagree, Ray. If you're going to play somebody for two series, then you don't play him at all. Because 2 series is not going to win you the game. 2 series is not going to assure you of anything. In fact, Ray, 2 series is exactly what you're talking about. You're just putting people out to risk. Because if players know they're only going to be out 2 series, then what kind of effort are you going to get? Right? So you're actually putting them more at risk by putting them out for 2 series that they know they're only going to be out 2 series. So they're going to give you a half-ass effort, and they could put themselves at risk at that point. Now, if you go in with the attitude, gentlemen, we got to win this game. We got to play this game all out, and we got to win it. And you don't tell the players anything. And then all of a sudden the Cleveland game gets out of control late in the 3rd, early 4th. Then you start pulling guys. And they ask, hey, what's up, coach? Oh, the other game's in control. I'm pulling you guys. We're winning this game. We're tied. We don't need it anymore. Get the hell off the field. That's how you handle it, Ray. You don't tell them ever that you're going to take them off the field because it's really hard to compartmentalize all of that and say, well, I'm only going to be out for two series. I'll just coast through this, you know, because you're not really looking to win the game then at that point. And so there's no reason to play them if you're going to play them for 2 series. So that's where you and I would disagree on that one. I think they're going to play them into the second half unless Cleveland's leading 40-10 at the end of the second quarter or something. You know what I mean? Then maybe they'll start to pull back because obviously they'll see that Cleveland's routing them and Pittsburgh doesn't have Big Ben, so they're not going to come back. They don't care. Then I can see that. But no, I don't think the 2 series. We'll see. When
you're not playing full speed, that's when some serious injuries can occur. You know what I got, What do you got? You remember the last question to Fitz post-game was by Omar, and it was regarding playoffs. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah. Yes.
You want to throw it out there right now? Ahead. I got you, bro.
All
Ready?
Right, go ahead.
Here we go.
I want to ask you this question because I've been following your career for quite a while, and this is your first opportunity to actually make it into the playoffs. What's that like, and what's it like know that you've contributed to that if you get in?
Yeah, and I want to go, man. I want to feel what it's like. I think we've got a special team. I think this team all year long has fought, and for me, it's not just this year. It's it's the last 2 years and trying to build this foundation and, build this vision of what Coach Flores thinks that we are. So I'm proud of the fact that I've really been able to contribute to that and have a strong contribution. And, that today was a great play at the end, but just on the sideline, the excitement, being able to hug your teammates and your coaches. I mean, that's why we play the game. So I am well aware that I've got to the playoffs. I promise you, Omar, and would love nothing more than to get there.
Doesn't sound like a guy. It's about the money, man. That's just not him. That's why I thought about that driving here. I was like, man, this thing may keep him out of that playoff game. And the poor guy, and as Mike No-Go-Zone says, life is cruel, life lessons. Amen to that. Life hasn't been crueler than on De'Aaron King than almost anybody else, man.
Can I spin this? Fitz, come back. We're definitely going to be in the playoffs, bro. Come back for another year.
Yeah, he may.
Okay?
I think he may.
You know what? I have a feeling that he wants where we're going to be a part of what could be a championship team. Yep. And you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Maybe in a way this kind of forces his hand, him and his wife's conversation. It's a little easier. And it's, you know what, man? Look where they're at. This is my chance to be in the playoffs. How long have I been doing this? The family seems to be on board. Yeah, maybe this is a blessing in disguise. You know what I mean?
I don't know, man.
That it pushes him to come back next year. It would be for the Dolphins' benefit.
Oh, always.
You know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
Just trying to put a good spin on this, man.
I got you.
Because this is a hell of a cruel situation.
A rabbi once told me, no money, no phone. I am spelling it the way he said it. I agree with Rabbi Fitz. Has the money, multimillionaire. Yeah, but the money doesn't change everything. The money doesn't make everything perfect, man. That's an enormous misconception that's out there. News on Devontae Parker. Is he trending? Well, he's practicing, and he practiced without a sleeve on his leg, so that's good. Jose Cabrera says, can we get in if Tennessee loses? No. The scenario is they need a Colts loss, a Baltimore loss, or a Browns loss. Any of those three, or their win, of course. If they win, they don't need
no help.
It doesn't matter who wins there if all three win, but they need need a loss by Baltimore, the Colts, or the Browns. One of those three has to lose. And now the worst part about it is Baltimore takes on Cincinnati. Cleveland is taking on Pittsburgh. Now Pittsburgh is playing without Big Ben, so you got a shot. And the Colts are playing without the Jags. Let me tell you something. Okay, the Jags aren't going to win, and Cincy's not winning. But
and remember, the Colts lost the first game of the season to the Jags. They have a little extra incentive because they did get beat by them.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah. But the Jags, if you watch them now,
they're just shutting people down. Robinson hasn't played.
Yeah, they're terrible. They're terrible. But it's all on Cleveland, guys. And Cleveland and Miami are kind of mirroring each other because they've been bad franchises forever. Cleveland a lot longer, obviously. But Cleveland needs to get over that threshold. And now you've got a depleted Steelers team without their starting quarterback. If you can't beat that Steelers team, then the Browns, wow, then people are just going to say you're the same old Browns. So that's really our hope right there. You know what I'm saying? Is Cleveland's that's the one that they usually fail, and they probably, will lose. But that's the only one right there because I don't see the Jags beating the Colts, and I don't see Cincinnati beating Baltimore. So it's really Cleveland, and Cleveland's in the same position as Miami. They're going to play their asses off now. How many people are they missing due to COVID is the question. We'll find out.
Cincinnati's won their last two games, one of them against Pittsburgh. They have played really hard.
Yeah.
And they have looked better. I don't want to – the odds of them beating Baltimore are slim.
Okay, is Lamar Jackson going to dance on Cincinnati's logo?
I don't think so.
Okay. So,
well, if he's – you know what? That kid's too good of a kid. He's
I don't even know where the game is at, actually. So.
Not that it matters. Look – you saw what Cincinnati did with the two running backs, and we were thinking Bernard and the other kid, Pierce or whatever his name is, took off. Cincinnati has a chance. Okay?
Yeah.
It is a football game, man. The ball bounces funny.
Yep. Anthony Manzano is in. What else do we have here? Let's see if we can get 2 number ones and a 2 for X in April. Green Bay needs a corner. We can pick Surtain Jr. to replace him. There you go. Mike says, to Bill's point, I would like to see Fitzpatrick return for another season. Yeah, it would definitely benefit the Dolphins. That's for sure. Oh, should we go after a high-priced wide receiver in the offseason like Juju or Robinson? No. I'm not for doing any of that. If you want to pay for a veteran to come in for a year and pay him very little money and incentives, like what we talked about with T.Y. Hilton or Marvin Jones from Detroit, these are like 31-year-old receivers, and you want to give them a 1 or 2 year contract for a minimum type deal or just barely over, like $3-4 million or something, then yeah. But paying big time money to a free agent wide receiver, that's not good. That's not good business. And when you've got 40,000 picks, you need to go draft 2 receivers in this draft, 1 early and 1 late and 1 in the middle of the rounds, and try to hit on those guys, because that's how you build the team. You know, it's not about using your cap space. You use your cap space to re-sign your players, and then you use your cap space when you are 1 or 2 players away from a Super Bowl, which that might be the case a year or 2 from now. When they feel they're on the brink, they may sign that 1 guy or 2 that they need to get over the top that they haven't been able to find in the draft, or they lost it to a big injury. Cole Beasley will miss this game. I think that's a huge blow to the Bills if Howard can neutralize Diggs. Now, that's the question. Will you move Howard around and keep him with Diggs? That's what I would do. Because remember, in the last game, they took advantage of a rookie. A rookie's not going to be on the field this time. The 2 veterans are going to be in the field, and I would imagine Byron Jones is going to be mighty, mighty motivated in this game to erase what happened last week, because he played a terrible game, dude. I mean, he was disgustingly weak.
Can I throw a wide receiver at you, man, that I know is a free agent and having issues with his team? The Bears, Allen Robinson, bro.
Oh, again, but that's a guy with a knee injury. That's a guy.
He's played every. Dude,
I know he's awesome.
And the
he's
kid
awesome.
is top 7. The guy just shows up, man.
Always.
Every Sunday, bro.
Always. The only thing is, I'm not big on giving a whole bunch of money, because they're going to want $15 million a year, and you're going to have to give them a big ass signing bonus and all that. And
you'd rather go the rookie route and
develop
have the
our
rookie.
own. Yeah, or bring in an older veteran that can give you a year or 2.
And he's just looking for the ring. He's got his money.
Exactly.
Right.
That's it. Leadership.
Because that's one kid, man. That guy, man, with all the injuries and everything.
Troy mentioned him. Troy
guy
mentioned
just
Juju
shows
Robinson.
up every Sunday, bro, when he plays.
Yep. Jason Rudolph needs to protect the ball, and I think Pitt can win. Yes, he could, but it's not Jason Rudolph. Okay? It's Mason Rudolph. But yes. And Jason, Mason, I get it. Just 1 letter. It's a difference. Big O, doesn't the Cleveland Browns still have their starting wide receiver out from COVID? I'm not sure which guys are back or not from Cleveland. I'd be lying to you exactly, but I know that they've got so many COVID issues and so many players. I don't know exactly, but I know that there's, they have several players dealing with it, and coaches, I think, and all that. I haven't really looked into how many of them are missing, so I'd be lying to you, my brother. Let's see what else. The show says, Jose, Cleveland has a lot of players out due to the Rona. Yes, they do. Jacques Bethune and Landon Roberts, IR. Yes, he is out. Julio Jones. The only thing, Sean, I wouldn't mind bringing Julio here for a year or 2. There's only one issue with that. Julio's going to want to get paid. Julio always wants to get – now, he's a stud. He works hard, all that, but you got to pay him. And as an older guy that has had his share of injuries, I would never pay him. Not at this point anymore. I wouldn't take the chance with Julio Jones because you got to give him money. I'm just not about that, man. Those kind of guys, it's a lower contract, and I'll say, look, here are the incentives. You stay healthy and you produce, you get some extra money. But we're not going to commit a bunch of guaranteed money to you when Julio Jones suffers a lot of injuries, man. He has. So that's my only problem with look, overall, they've done a pretty good job of drafting. So let's just stay. They found Lynn Bowden for a late round pick, and they found Isaiah Ford for a 7th round pick, right? So they can find receivers that are serviceable late. So then you can identify the good ones, really good ones, early.
Yeah, but I think we're not talking about serviceable. We're talking about game changers.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
The guy.
And if you can find serviceable late in the draft, then you should be able to know what's elite early.
Go to the next level.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So they should be able to identify, is it Devonta Smith or is it the LSU kid Jamar Chase?
You know what's the only thing about Julio, man?
So that's it's up to them to figure out which are the guys. And I trust these guys already at this point. They know how to find everything. They found the tight ends.
Yeah. There's not a spot that they haven't put a guy that we've all been, damn, we did good there.
Myles Gaskin is a heck of a backup running back for a 7th rounder. So if you can identify a serviceable running back in the 7th round, you're going to find a really good one in the 1st, 2nd, or 3rd rounds. That's my point. If you can find a tight end like Gesicki, then you know what the hell you're doing. Then you traded for Shaheem, and you know how to use him, and Durham Smythe has improved under you as a blocking tight end. He's not catching the damn ball. It's just I trust these guys. And I think I've been really consistent about this from the beginning. I told you, build through the draft. That's what I want. That's why I've been so excited about this incredible teardown, because they went and got all these draft picks, and they're not using the draft picks to go acquire one guy. No, they're picking player after player after player after player. So they're finding people. That's, to me, just be a little patient. Remember, we're already fast-tracked as it is in our 2nd year. Can you imagine with another draft with 12 picks? That's going to be pretty cool. And here's another thing that they did last year that you guys have to understand this too. Okay, so let's not go pay $20 million, $25 million for a defensive end. Let's go pay $7 million for Agba, right? Let's buy Shaq Lawson, right? And then all of a sudden you're getting a lower-level free agent because you think there's potential there that has been untapped. And you were right about Agba. Now he's got a career year on his hands. See what I'm saying?
Value. Get big return for your dollar.
Exactly. So now you're sitting there going, whoa, man, we're not paying. Like last year when they signed Devontae and he comes up with 1,200 yards and 9 touchdowns. Like, whoa, man, they're only paying him $10 million. It's like, and I know $10 million sounds like a lot, but it's not a lot for an elite receiver or a top receiver. That's actually really cheap. You know what I mean? I know he's got 800 yards this year. 700.
That's solid. $10 million's a solid.
Yeah, it's not.
You're not good. You're not great.
Right.
You're solid.
You're solid, and yet you could get better production than that out of him at times. So these are the things that are really important for the Dolphins overall, that they also know how to find smart bargains in free agency. Byron Jones, you couldn't avoid it. And that was part of their scheme. They were like, okay, we got one shutdown corner. Let's go buy another one, and that's going to help our pass rush. And they were right. And we all know that because we lived Sertan Madison, right? All of us lived that. All of us watched a great secondary, how it helped, the front seven immensely. It was all about the offense that they couldn't figure out in those days. Well, now you got the people that can figure out both sides of the ball. Hell, all 3 sides of the ball. Because they excel on special teams, too. One of the better special teams units, man.
Talking about Julio Jones, I will say this. Notice, man, that guy's hurt every year.
I know. That's why we
He misses games. I love him. When that guy's on the field, there's nobody. Every pass,
First ballot.
Potential touchdown.
First ballot.
Literally.
First ballot.
Yes.
First ballot.
There's no guy on a slant, regularly. Dude, 70, 80 yards is not inconceivable on a slant with that guy.
Yep. The show says, guys like Howard don't grow on trees. Damn, I hope they keep him, but the contract deal, bummed. He's got also the knee issues, bro, and he had a domestic issue. John Rouse is in the house. I like it.
He is this guy is Mr. Consistency.
Yes, he is.
Know?
Yes, he is. Consistently will sneak behind the tree to sit down, too.
As big as John is, because he's not a small guy.
Yeah.
He did a pretty good job.
Sean says, so you don't think we could bring in Julio Jones for his current rate? There's a chance he could win a Super Bowl. Yeah, there's also a chance he could be injured all year long, too. I love Julio Jones, the player, but Julio, from what I've seen, he always wants to get paid. You're going to have to pay some money to get the guy, and I'm just not a fan of paying that guy $15+ million when I don't feel I'm not sure he'll be available to you in the Super Bowl, my brother. That's my problem with Julio Jones. He's had a lot of injuries. That body has a lot of wear and tear on it. Got to be careful with that one. Let's see. D-Milo Big O, Happy New Year, brother. Did you hear Tua's comments on his ex-wide receiver teammate Smith? We'll play Tua's press conference here at the top of the hour. And we'll also play Flo addressing the media today, too. I think he addressed the media before the Fitz news came out. Just so you'll know. I'm pretty sure of that. Would you draft Kyle Pitts if Miami traded X and got another 2 first-rounders, Pitts and Gesicki with a speed demon, Ronald Moore, and Parker would be elite? Listen, man, there's a lot of good players in this draft. The good thing is Miami's going to have a ton of picks. Whether you want to talk about Pitts, whether you want to talk about Devonta Smith, whether you want to talk whatever, man. We can name all kinds of excellent players in this draft. You know, a Penei Sewell. There's all. That's the beauty of where Miami is at. They've got so many picks that they're going to have an opportunity to improve drastically in a lot of areas again, as long as they hit on the picks. And you've watched this guy at work. He's pretty damn good at drafting. Let's see. Sean says, by the way, I think your show is awesome, and I listen to you because I think you are by far the most knowledgeable Dolphin fan on YouTube. By far, keep up the great work. You're the best. I appreciate that, Sean. Very nice of you.
With the injuries we've had.
And I've done a good job of fooling you.
We have to get 2 receivers, correct? Because of the way Williams, there's no question.
Yeah.
It's got to be 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because I'd be like, if I'm them, I'd be almost a little bothered by Albert Wilson and Hearns stepping away.
Well, you said you don't think you think the Dolphins are like, hey, come to camp, blah, and when camp gets. Thank you for catching some passes from the quarterbacks we were looking at.
Yes, I think.
Have a nice day.
I think they're going to bring in competition, and I think in the end those guys will be insurance policies, and they'll be some of the final cuts at that spot.
So they'll actually use this against them.
Yeah. Yeah. John says anybody that stepped away, I want no part of, and you're
even saying guys that didn't play college football this year, you don't want them on your NFL team drafted.
Yeah. Well, Rousseau, I have a problem with Rousseau anyways because he's a one-year wonder. So that to me is as good as he is. I'm not spending a high first-round pick on Gregory Rousseau. There is no way I would do that. No way I would do that. Not because he stepped out. It's because he's a one-year wonder. I'm not. The one-year wonders are normal fails. The only guy that succeeded is the dude that blew out his fingers, Jason Pierre-Paul. And that some bitch just changed the linebacker and been kicking ass at linebacker. Oh, yeah, if he stays, yeah. If he stays and had a good year, I agree. He could have been a top 5 pick. I agree with that. George Arthur giving us a little love on the Super Chat. Thank you, George. It says, aloha, Big O. Sorry, it's been a long while. Happy New Year. Our Dolphins will continue to kick ass. Love you guys. And this chat, fins up. Appreciate you. Thank you, sir, as always, for keeping it locked. What price would Julio be asking for? 15+ million. Easy. That's just the way he is, dude. If he wants to take a lot less and take incentives, then I would take the chance with him. Big O, how would you compare the impact Wake had on our defense to Agba? Different players. Agba's better against the run than Wake. He's a bigger player than Wake, actually. He can actually hold the point better than Wake. Wake was not a great run stopper. Wake was better. Wake was a great pass rusher, but not a run stopper. So Agba right now is a better player than Wake because he's a two-way player. He helps you in two areas. Whereas, it got to a point with Wake where he kind of became a third down specialist, basically, and a pass rush guy. But he was never, remember, he was
a one-trick pony, man.
But he's not a big defensive end, actually.
He was a run liability. He was. On run, they ran right at him.
They always ran out right at him. Yeah. And so I would say Agba is a better overall player, but Wake, we can never put Agba in the Wake category of pass rusher. There's a guy that got 9-10 sacks all the damn time. So how could you slam Wake when Agba has not proven that yet? This is his first 9-sack season. So Wake has to do, Agba has to do a lot more in the pass rush situation to then be considered a better player than Wake. But he does have the overall, as an overall player, he does have that right now better than Wake. But I'd still take Wake because it's years and years of great pass rush. And that's where you got to lean to him in that. But if I needed a complete end, I'm going to take I'm going to take Agba this year over what Wake normally does. Okay?
Spanish music in the background, John, by the way, says it's his favorite song.
I would imagine so. Why not? It's incredible music. Jay Walsh says, I want Sewell if he's available, but we could still take Pitts if we wanted to, I think. They're going to be at 3, brother. They're going to be able to take a lot of people. It's only like a quarterback, maybe 2 quarterbacks. I doubt it. But a quarterback and a lineman, or a quarterback and a receiver, or a quarterback and an end or something. It's only 2 players that are going to go before Miami. So Miami is going to have the pick of the litter for a lot. This trade, wow. You got to knock it out of the park, whoever you pick at 3, man. You need to make this trade count, like big time. Okay? You need to make sure that the number 3 pick that you get, he's better than Tunsil. Okay? Do that. Get a guy that's better than Tunsil, whatever position he plays, but he's better than Tunsil. That way that trade looks incredible already.
Another thing to think about, like we've talked with all the quarterbacks that are probably going to slide up into the first round, that means those second round, there's going to be a lot of guys that are going to push back with those 2 second-round picks.
For sure. Miami's going to have 3 of the top 35, 36 picks in the draft, man. That's pretty fun.
A lot of talent going to be out there.
That's going to be fun when we're doing our show in Cleveland for the draft. We'll be able to our breaks won't be that long in between picks. I like it. That's a good thing. Jay Wash says, later in the draft, taking Pitts, trading up for him like 13th, like the 4th pick. I get you. There's a lot of good players, my brother. Let's wait till we get closer to the draft. We know who's declared. We know all the dirt already at that point by the time we get to the draft. We'll know who has some suspensions and problems in school. We'll know who has some medical history, all of that stuff.
Who's wearing bong masks.
Yeah, who's wearing bong masks, all those things. And then we can figure it out on where we go. But right now, I don't like to make any of those determinations at this point. I'd rather get the information first, and then let's find out where everything, that way we can kind of figure everything out. You know what I'm saying? We still don't even know if we're going to pick a 3 yet. So who knows? We'll see.
We'll know after Sunday.
I know.
Right?
Yep.
Yep. There's no Monday night game, so everybody's done on Sunday. We'll know exactly where we're at.
All right, we're going to take a quick break here. Hour number 2 is coming up here. We're going to have Tua. We're going to play his press conference. I'll give you my reactions on some of the things he talked about. We're going to hear from Flo today. Also, I got to give you my NFL picks. Got a couple of other things that I want to talk about. We are coming to you live from Toyota of Hollywood. So come on out here, 1841 North State Road 7. Come on by and say hi. Bill is out here by my side. Yes, sir. And John Rouse is in the house. Let's take a break. Back with more right here on the Big O Show. Hey, it's Big O for all of your CBD, THC, or hookah needs. You got to get on down to VSS West Pines at 12397 Pembroke Road. Yes, they have got legal THC. You got to check it out. And they've got, of course, when it comes to CBD, flower, tinctures, edibles, for all kinds of reasons, whether it's pain, stress, anxiety, you name it. And don't forget, when you mention my name, you'll get 20% off. Tell the boys out there that I told you to get on down to VSS West Pines, 12397 Pembroke Road, and call them 954-613-3367. Legal THC, CBD, all of your hookah needs. You go to VSS West Pines.
Are you tired of watching the same old travel videos on the internet? Well, then check out MikeNoGoZones.com. A travel documentary that's breaking barriers. I go to the places that the media tells you to peer, where no one else dares to go. Baltimore, Opelika, South Side of Chicago, and more. Go to MikeNoGoZones.com.
Hey, it's Big O for EJD Construction. Listen, I've been telling you about Eric for a long time now. Custom home builder for additions, home remodeling. We're not talking about a handyman. Maybe you want to redo that man cave. We're not going to a lot of live sporting events. So you want to improve that experience in your man cave? Call them 305-433-4843. Tell them that Big O sent you and go to the Instagram page. You can see the before and after there. You'll be impressed. EJD_construction. Call them 305-433-4843 or go to the website ejdconstruction.com.
America's premium sports sedan is at Acura of Pembroke Pines, and this is how we do it. TLX $259 a month, $259 at Acura of Pembroke Pines, the #1 volume Acura dealer. America's premium sport compact sedan is at Acura of Pembroke Pines, and this is how we do it. 2020 ILX $199 a month, $199 at Acura of Pembroke Pines, the #1 volume Acura dealer.
Hey, it's Big O for all of your family dental needs. Please reach out to Moody's Dental. I've known Eric for a while, a big fan of our show. Call him at 305-821-0231. Whether it's you or your kids that need some dental help, whether it's implants, Invisaligns, they are the experts. Or if you're just looking to fill a cavity or clean your teeth, or maybe even get a crown, you are going to love the professionalism, the family-like atmosphere. And of course, when you talk about being clean, that's what it's all about in today's society. You are going to go to an extremely clean place. Go to moodyusdental.com, go to the website, follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Moody's Dental. Tell them that Big O sent you. 305-821-0231 or go to moodyusdental.com.
Are you tired of watching the same old travel videos on the internet? Well, then check out MikeNoGoZones.com. A travel documentary that's breaking barriers. I go to the places that the media tells you to peer, where no one else dares to go. Baltimore, Opelika, South Side of Chicago, and more. Go to MikeNoGoZones.com.
Hey, it's Big O for all of your CBD, THC, or hookah needs. You got to get on down to VSS West Pines at 12397 Pembroke Road. Yes, they have got legal THC. You've got to check it out. And they've got, of course, when it comes to CBD, flower, tinctures, edibles, for all kinds of reasons, whether it's pain, stress, anxiety, you name it. And don't forget, when you mention my name, you'll get 20% off. Tell the boys out there that I told you to get on down to VSS West Pines, 12397 Pembroke Road, and call them 954-613-3367. Legal THC, CBD, all of your hookah needs. You go to VSS West Pines.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
All right, we back. We take you here till 5. If you want to reach out to us, you can on the text line 786-322-1105. If you want to get in on the program, that's 786-322-1105. If you
actually
want to get in
gave
on
him
the
a
show,
time? You actually gave him a time? Aren't we supposed to say about that time?
Yeah, well,
whenever we
maybe.
feel like
It might be.
you're in charge. You can do whatever you want. What happened, dude? You're being all nice on New Year's Eve, huh?
It's we've turned a new page.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yes.
Okay, you heard it here first. O says we're in a different situation here.
That's right. Remember, EJD Construction, a proud sponsor of our show, folks. Call Eric if you need additions and home remodeling, custom home builder. Listen, support the people that support our shows. All right, 305-433-4843. These guys are absolutely phenomenal. Go to the website, ejdconstruction.com. The last 16 years, they've earned the AAA plus rating from the Better Business Bureau and Angie's List, and they do it all, man. So if you're looking to improve that man cave, modernize that kitchen, add an addition to the home because maybe you've got some family members moving in, or you want to create a man cave, or you want to create a playroom or a bar or anything like that because, a lot of us are hanging out. Well, most of us are hanging out more at home than ever. So a lot of people are redoing their homes so they can make it more of an oasis. Call them 305-433-4843. Save it on that cell phone, 305-433-4843 for EJD Construction.
You heard her? Oh, say it.
Yes.
New changes. Go ahead, everybody. You can tell them what to do.
That's
go ahead.
it. There you
Floor's
go.
open.
There you go. Big O just joined. What are the plans for the Senior Bowl given COVID situation? Jim, I'm not going. Not going to the Senior Bowl. We're not going to be able to be in the team hotel with the players. So then the NFL people, I know they're all going to be hiding in their hotels. And if we don't have access to the players, and what are they going to do? Okay, you've never been there to the Senior Bowl, but one of the things that I'm on the field, okay, with all the NFL personnel, and I'm usually watching practice, and then I bounce around and I talk to one GM, I go talk to a scout, I go talk to an assistant coach, whatever, as I'm watching practices. We're not going to be able to do that. And a lot of these coaches are older, so they're going to get the tapes from the practices. A lot of them aren't going to travel, I'm told now, to the Senior Bowl. They're going to have smaller staffs. Everybody else will get film. And then the interview process for the teams is the only thing. It's not about the media now. And so we're not going to have the same access to personnel people and to the players. So why am I going to go? You know what I mean? I'm not going to invest all that money and not be able to do anything. And so this is my first time I'm going to miss it in 21 years. So, unfortunately, but it's COVID, man. It's kind of ruined it all, So if I can't do the things I normally do, there's no I'll just work it by phone, and that's it. I'm sure we'll watch the practices because they'll have them on ESPN like they normally do. So we'll see the practices there. The East-West Shrine was canceled. The NFLPA game was canceled. Okay, those were other options too. But again, if they're all doing virtual, they're picking their teams, but that's about it. They don't get to practice or play or anything like that. It's a shame, man. It's a shame, but this is what a pandemic does, man. We can't go to concerts. We can't have parties. We can't have big get-togethers. We got to get through this thing first. So once we get this damn vaccine out to everybody and we hopefully are smart and mask up and lower the numbers, then I think we'll be all right. But for now,
speaking of concerts,
life changes.
Speaking of concerts, did you see that Greep went ahead and purchased the Kiss concert from Dubai?
Oh, he did?
Yes, he did.
What a nutbag.
Dude, that's Greep. You know how the guy's sitting on... He is sitting on what, like 8 or 10 concert tickets right now for 21? The guy, dude, you're a maniac. He honestly takes it to another level.
Yes, he does.
It's like,
Yes, he
wow.
does. Yeah, he does. Yeah, I have not. I'm going to keep my streak going. I'm not paying for any concerts on internet, bro. Not doing that.
All you got to do is wait a day or two, right?
No.
And there it is.
Yeah, well, maybe not a day, but yeah, it's probably going to take a couple months or whatever to finally see it. But yeah, there's no way, dude. I need to be at the concert. If I'm going to go to a concert, I'm going to be live at the concert. That's what I need to do. I got to be live at the show. Hell no. And I think it's like $35, $45 the cheapest ticket. Oh, let's say you hear a band like Black Sabbath or Motorhead decides to reboot the band with a new lineup. Would you agree with that or hate it as a fan of the original bands? Oh, I want nothing to do with it. Yeah, no. I mean, you can't have Motorhead without Lemmy. It's impossible. And Black Sabbath, I mean, Ozzy's still around. Bill Ward's still around. Tony Iommi is still around. Geezer Butler is still around. You can actually have a real reunion of Black Sabbath. We can't do it with Dio because, unfortunately, he passed away. I was thinking about that, by the way. Can you imagine if Black Sabbath had both singers alive and they did a tour of Ozzy and Dio? Huh? How cool would that be? Okay.
I actually thought about that when you were talking about while we were at Canes, the
Right.
Van Halen,
Yeah, that's
what they were planning on doing.
That would have been cool.
Black
man.
Sabbath would have been, bro, because Heaven and Hell and Mob Rules
Yeah.
with the classic Sabbath.
Yeah. No.
Oh,
Forget it.
You know what? That could be a 3.5-hour concert, and you
Easy.
would be
Easy.
like, yeah, I'm here. I'm good. Give me a comfortable seat.
Easy. David Sorensen says, Big O, this is a perfect situation for Tua to rise to the occasion. Dolphin Dave since 1966. I agree with you, Dolphin Dave. Definitely, this is a beautiful situation. In fact, why don't we hear from Tua? All right, Bill, let's pull up Tua here. Let's hear from the young quarterback. He addressed the meteors yesterday. The good thing is he does not have COVID. So they did all the contact tracing with Fitz, and Tua is in the clear. He's practicing, so you got him starting against the Buffalo Bills. Let's hear from Tua, your quarterback.
So I was wondering about your freshman year at St. Louis, and then your freshman season at Alabama. How do you think those moments prepared you where you weren't the guy, so that you're able to handle moments like Denver, like Las Vegas, and even earlier in the season where you take a back seat, that you were mature enough mentally to be able to handle that?
Well, I think there just needs to be understanding, like situational understanding, what we're trying to get done as a team, and then just from that perspective, like you just got to get out of yourself and kind of, like I said, into the team and see it from that perspective instead of, yourself. So I would say my freshman year, I played junior varsity because in our league, you couldn't play, varsity right away. But just it's all about, what you can gain from everything. And for me, it's learning experience, and like I said, in all of the previous interviews that I've had, it's not like a one and done thing, it's continuous, especially doing, your rookie year too. So
I suppose following up in a way in the previous question, I wanted to ask you about the pressure you may or may not be feeling this week, given the stakes, given how last Saturday went. Any extra pressure that you feel on your shoulders to pull out this victory and show that the Dolphins made the right choice?
I'd say for me, there's really, no extra added pressure for me. I would say the expectation for myself is very high in, how I perform and how I go out there and try to lead the guys to victory. Obviously, this past weekend, I didn't play to that standard. And, it's more so like me knowing that, we got to go out there and, got to get the job done. And if you can't get the job done, then, that's on you. That's on no one else.
I like that he has that awareness of saying, that it's on you. And listen, I think every player, when you ask him that question, that was Hal Habib from the Palm Beach Post that was asking that question. It was a good question. No player is going to admit pressure. It just doesn't happen. If they start admitting that they feel pressure, then it's almost a sign of weakness. You know what I mean? Because as an athlete, as a star, you're supposed to be above pressure when we're really not. Every one of us feels pressure every day. And we feel pressure to pay the rent at the end of the month, the mortgage, find food for our family and put it on the table. We have pressure every day of our lives, okay? All of us have pressure to produce at work, because if not, you don't keep your job, things like that. So pressure is everywhere, and he feels it. He feels it as the 5th pick of the draft, as the guy that's labeled the future of the team, the guy that they started over a quarterback that was winning, okay? So the pressure's all there. He can deny it if he wants, but he knows it's there. But what's most important is what he said at the end, that he has the accountability to say, it's on you if you don't get it done. And that's what I love, that this is not a kid that's going to sit there. Look, did you watch what T.O. did the other day on Master Tesfastian's show, where it's I forgot, Untold Stories it's called, and he just ripped into McNabb and ratted on McNabb and said that McNabb was out the night before and all that stuff. And he really doesn't know that he doesn't really know if McNabb was out or not, but he says he heard it from other players. And so to me, when I hear that, I hear from T.O. See, T.O. to me, in my eyes, has no credibility, has zero credibility. So for me, T.O. can't be the guy calling other people out. And McNabb that night was not good. He threw 3 interceptions, all that stuff. I get all of that. But my problem with T.O. is he has failed others in the past, teams and everything. So you're the last guy to be picking on anybody's character when you've been a royal pain in the ass on every team that you've been. You may not be a criminal, but you're a terrible teammate. Okay? I get it. Because we always walk this line with T.O., right? Because some people try to justify T.O.'s behavior by saying, well, T.O.'s, he's not a criminal and he doesn't get arrested for this. And they're right. T.O.'s never really been a bad dude in that sense. But as a teammate, as a guy in the locker, he was selfish as hell. And that's automatic. This kid is not about being selfish. This kid's about being selfless. This kid is not about pointing fingers. It's about taking responsibility. This kid is about awareness, okay? Whereas T.O. does not have the awareness. It's just two different human beings. And I love the fact that he took an accountable way of answering that question. Not telling you about the pressure, but well aware that he has to perform. And if he doesn't, it's on him. And that's what I like, because he's ready to blame himself if he doesn't get it done. When he got benched, he didn't point fingers. He didn't blame anybody. He didn't say, oh, because of this or that or excuse, nothing. He said, no, I didn't get the job done, man. I understand what happened. They had to bring Fitz in, and we won the game. And what was he? He was supportive of Fitz, because in the end, he's about the team winning. And he understands like the rest of us. Sometimes you're not ready, man. That's why you come off the bench. You're in JV basketball, and you come off the bench. Midway through the season, the coach starts you. Why? Because he gave you the game piecemeal, and you got better along the way as you got off the bench, and then eventually he gave you the responsibility of being a starter because you were ready to handle that responsibility as a starter. So I love that about Tua. Go ahead.
Tua, 16 weeks into your rookie season, when do you most still feel like a rookie at this point?
Man, I'm not too sure how to answer that question. I just think it's a continuing learning process. Whether you're a rookie or second year, third year, there's always things that you can learn, but it's how quickly you can digest those things and then, kind of go out there and execute them. So that's the biggest thing for me.
I have two questions, if I may. First one's pretty easy. Have you ever played in snow before, and what was that experience like? Because there could be some snow on Sunday. And two, going back to your college days, you've obviously had big-time performances on the biggest stage. Can you draw on that experience, and what specifically from national championship games can prepare you for a weekend like this?
Yeah, to your first question, I've never played in snow. And then to your second question, I think at the end of the day, it just comes down to our 11 guys against their 11 guys. It's football, and this time it's a lot different because there's no fans, but you do know that there's a lot at stake. And, it goes back to like what I said before. You gotta go out there and perform. And this is crunch time. And yeah, now's not the time to be making mistakes and all of these things. You got to really zero in on what you got to do to help the team become successful and get a win.
Awareness.
I was thinking about when you just mentioned that. I was thinking, have you ever seen snow? You've lived in Hawaii, Bama, and Miami. Have you seen snow? That's not my question, but I was curious about that. My actual question is, I'd say how the QB situation has kind of worked out this year has been unorthodox, maybe is the right word. But what is it about how maybe Flo has handled it that makes you and Fitz both comfortable, with whatever happens?
Yeah, I've seen snow. I've got to play with snow a little bit. That was in Alabama my freshman year. It was snowing there. They said it snows like every 4 years there, so I was lucky. And then with our whole quarterback situation, I think Flo does a good job in communicating with me, Fitz, as well as our coordinator and our quarterbacks coach, and kind of seeing like, hey, are you in a groove, or what can we do better? And if not, it's always communicated. There's really good communication between all of us, and I trust that he has the interest not just for us, but just in the whole team. He has the best interest for the whole team. That's what I should say.
And pause there a second, Bill. And I love that part at the end. Again, an awareness, an understanding, a level of intelligence, common sense. And so obviously Flo communicates what he needs to get done. But ultimately, what he's trying to get done is for what's best for the football team. So as a player, and any of us that have been in team sports, you play a role. And whatever that coach tells you, or if you're in a business, you play a role. Whatever your boss tells you, this is your role in order for us to move forward as a corporation, as a business, whatever. You got to fill that role, and you got to understand that's your supportive part of it. But I love the fact that Flo clearly has communicated in a way that they understand that he's not trying to screw one person or the other. He's not picking favorites of one over the other. He's just trying to do what's best for the football team and for the individual along the way. Put it this way. I want you to think about this, okay? You're 3-3. You've won 2 in a row. I believe that's how it was, okay? Or maybe 3 in a row. No, 2 in a row. That's what it was. It was 2 in a row. So you've won 2 in a row and you're 3-3. You start Tua. So your quarterback that is currently starting is not a problem. But yet the head coach says now's the time to insert the young man to start giving him experience. So Tua, again, awareness, intelligence, understanding. He sees that his coach believes in him so much that he's putting him in the starting lineup when things are good, not when things are chaotic, because that's what normally they do, don't they? To young guys, oh, everything's gone to hell. The veteran can't play anymore. There's a breakdown. Let's throw the young guy in there and let's see what he can do. And he's in the middle of a chaotic situation. So instead, Flo says, well, things are going pretty good right now. I know Fitz is playing well, but let's get our guy in there because this is a good time to get him in there because guys are feeling a little bit more confident. They're playing well. They can assist him in the development. That's one, okay? Because he's thinking selfless as a coach. how I can help my young guy. But if you're Tua, you're looking at the coach going, wow, coach, thank you, man. I mean, Fitz is playing well. The team is 3-3. There's no reason to start me, yet you believe in me. So Tua has an understanding that he's grateful that his coach believes in him and that he's doing the things that are best for him, one way or the other, whether it's inserting you into a lineup where you're winning 2 in a row and you're 3-3, or taking you out of a lineup because you're struggling and you can't get points on the board, and we need points because we got to win this game, Tua, so I got to put you on the bench and I got to put Fitz in there. So he helps everybody in the process flow. He makes everybody feel a part of the process. It's not like I'm starting you, get the hell out of here, just be the scout team guy and shut up. This is our future. We're not even looking back. No, he's not saying that. Hey, man, stay ready because I'm going to need you. And if you watched the game last week when they won, there was an emphatic hug between Fitz and Flo. You know what I mean? And that was a hug of celebration and jubilation, let's say. But it was also a hug like, I trust you, man. Thank you. From both sides. So the awareness that Tua has with all of that to understand, because sometimes, put it this way, a Dwayne Haskins or a Johnny Manziel is not going to understand this situation the same way Tua does. The Johnny Manziel or the Dwayne Haskins, when you put them in the lineup at 3-3 and after winning 2 in a row, the average young, normal human being will think, wow, this is a big step and the coach believes in me. The Dwayne Haskins and the Johnny Manziels of the world are going, it's about damn time you put me in there, dude. Put that old geezer in there. Come on, man. I'm the future, not that guy. That's what you would get. Not that maybe they would say it publicly. They might say it behind the scenes, or they just might be thinking it. That's not something that goes through Tua's mind. So it's really important. The answer to that question, the relationship between the coach and the players, and you have to understand the way he's inserted and taken out quarterbacks. They have to appreciate that he, every time, is actually protecting them along the way and doing what's best for the team. And remember what he said in that podium after the game. When they asked him about the quarterback search, he goes, hey, man, I got 53 guys in that locker room. Because he's worried about Emmanuel Ogbah busting his ass for a win, and you're trying to train a young guy? No, dude, we got a shot to get to the playoffs. Let's win. Get Fitz in there. You're not going to do that to Emmanuel Ogbah. You're not going to do it to Christian Wilkins. You're not going to do it to Ted Karras. You cannot do it to Myles Gaskin. You can't do it to whoever's playing because they're busting their asses trying to win a game, trying to get into the playoffs. And Flo has an understanding of his team. He has an awareness of what his responsibilities are to each player. I think it's pretty damn cool. All right, go ahead, Bill.
Well, I have a question about RPO. I'm still learning about RPO. You've played in it for quite a while right now. Because you have to get the ball out your hands so quickly to prevent offensive linemen from being illegal downfield players, how do you produce big plays in RPO? Well, how does that happen if it has to be such a quick progression?
You get the ball in the hands of our playmakers and you let them make plays. I would say that's how you do it. That's one way. And then, other ways are also just pushing the ball downfield. And I would say that's what I need to do, a better job with, especially, this past game and then games prior.
All right, we have one more question. We'll go to Joe.
Hey, Tua, I'm really looking forward to the college football playoff. I'm wondering, could you give me a little thumbnail on Devontae Smith and how do you think Alabama will do?
Yeah, Devontae Smith, he's a really good player. Got to play with him from my freshman year until last year. So played with him for 3 years, very smart, very instinctive, and he's very athletic and he's fast too. And he goes up and gets the ball. I'm not no magician or I'm not Houdini. I don't have a crystal ball to say who's going to win this game and whatnot, but you just wish the best to our guys at Alabama. And, Notre Dame's going to be tough too. you just can never be too sure. No, when it comes to football.
Now, when you saw that was Tua, by the way, addressing the media, and when Omar asked him the second to last question about having to make plays downfield, and he simplistically said, "Well, I got to get it to my playmakers." Now, he's not going to tell us exactly how he does that, but I'll tell you one way that he needs to start doing that more often. He needs to use his eyes. He needs to learn how to manipulate the coverages at times. And since you've got to make a quick decision, you've got to understand where the single coverage is already. And then once the snap is coming out and you're dropping back, you need to focus somewhere else. So you can draw the safety to one side, and you know the single coverage is on that side, but you want to draw it to the last millisecond that then you can turn and let it loose. And that's how you're going to have to do it at times. He has to learn how to manipulate the secondaries with his eyes. Fitz does that. You know, there are times that Fitz will throw it in windows that he's not supposed to, but that's because he's the gunslinger that he is. But because Tua is very responsible with the football, he's got to learn that fine line of, you saw it with Marino. Well, I'm sorry. There's a lot of young people out there. Those of us that are old enough that saw it with Marino, there are many times that a receiver is right ahead of the DB, and the ball would come right through the DB's ear, right into Duper's hands or Clayton, who are right in front of the DB running, but the DB never saw it coming, okay? And that's because Marino was already working somewhere else. That DB didn't even know that a ball was coming this way, and boom, he just, got it there before the DB could ever turn around and see it. And he did that religiously. I've never seen that again, by the way. Marino's the only quarterback that I've ever seen whiff the ball right through somebody's ear. DBs will tell you that played Marino. They'll tell you, oh, yeah, no, dude, the freakish thing was watching the football go past my head, and I didn't realize it until it was in the receiver's hands. Why? Because he already knew the radar, because Marino had a radar. It wasn't eyes. It was like a heat-seeking radar. I've never seen anything like it. It was just so quick that that's why the DBs had no idea. 1 second they see him like this, the next second he's releasing already. And it's like, yo, bro, I didn't even see you cock the damn ball, So that's one of the things Tua is going to have to do is manipulate coverages. He's got to get a little better with that here in this league because they're too smart in this league, man. In college, you play against a whole bunch of people that you're way more talented. Okay? In the NFL, everybody's just as talented as you are. What do we have here? This is going to sound dumb, but maybe sign Haskins to the practice squad. I don't know. First of all, I don't know who's interested in the kid. I don't know if they want him. I mean, do you really want a guy that's partying with strippers? And do you want that in your locker? Do you want that around Tua? This is a guy. This guy's a punk, man. Think about this. You're an enormous pick. Okay, you're a high round pick. You're a quarterback, and you get cut in less than 2 years. Wow. The stuff we don't know has got to be scary, dude.
We've seen players in the past get cut after a full 2 seasons.
Yeah.
Not in the middle, like before the end of his second. This is the first one ever that high.
Yeah.
To be cut.
Yeah.
So he's kind of created his own, legacy here. Like, you're in uncharted territory. You are all by yourself, buddy.
Amen to that. Man of 1,005 holds sends us a super chat. He says, one more super chat to end the year. Thank you, sir. Shake Money sends us a super chat. He says, which reporter do you think asked the most stupid questions?
Are you thinking just pick one? It doesn't matter?
Let me think of this. Miami Kid J says, Big O actually looking at film. Tua is manipulating the safeties, but he's not slinging it. Well, then he's not manipulating. When you start having success and you can manipulate it, then we're talking. But right now, he's not manipulating enough at this point. But that's all. Again, this is all normal. It's normal, dude, because these are kids that are dropping back. All of a sudden, they're going, "Wow, these guys are big, fast, and quick." And it's like, whoa, you know. I always I tell you guys this, and I've been saying it for 20 years. Tua's used to throwing sliding glass windows. You know, those two big-ass sliding glass doors you have in your house, or most of us do. Well, that's it. Those are the windows in college. And in the NFL, it's a bathroom window. It's a little tiny window, and he's got to get used to throwing it in that millisecond. That's all. It's a different rhythm. And so once you delay for half a second because you didn't manipulate it enough, then the play's over. The route is run. The moment in time that you had is gone. And that's what he's got to figure out. Once he figures out the timing and the anticipation here in the NFL, he'll be fine. It took Drew Brees 4 years to figure it out. 4 years. For 3, he couldn't figure it out. It was his 4th year. And that was the year they drafted Phillip Rivers. Because it was 3 years of doing nothing. So they draft Phillip Rivers, and he's a rookie that year. And they're like, okay, let's just throw Brees out there for a couple games, and eventually we'll get Rivers in. They never got Rivers in because Brees kicked ass that year. He took off. It lit a fire under him or whatever. He figured it out. The light went on, whatever. I laugh at the people that say, well, Tua doesn't have this rocket of an arm. Doesn't mean you have to succeed because Joe Montana didn't have a rocket of an arm. Drew Brees doesn't have a rocket of an arm. You know, and those are two of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play this game. Bob Greasy didn't have a rocket of an arm. You can succeed in this league. You don't have to have a gun. It's nice if you have a gun, but I've seen plenty of guys that have guns, and they have no idea where it's going. Watch Mike Glennon. Guy's got a rifle, has no idea where it's going. So it's just about manipulating, touch, anticipation, all of those things. Once Tua figures it out, he'll be fine.
Do you think there's an issue with because of lack of experience, his pre-snap read, and like this should be spot 1 that I go to, and then with my progressions, that should be 2, that should be 3.
He goes through his progressions, but I think.
But is the order right? You know what I mean?
I don't know about that. I don't know. I don't coach the guy who watches
that's
the
important.
film.
Like, you know how
I don't know
Brady,
what play is called.
Because you know how Brady and Peyton knew this is the guy that's probably going to be open right now.
I don't think
snap.
I don't think reading is his problem. His problem is he's not reacting quick enough yet, because the game is a lot faster than the one he played.
Man, everybody,
and the guys are bigger and more athletic,
yes.
and so that's his adjustment right now. And by the way, it's 10 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Let's slow the hell down.
Still,
okay, let's slow down.
Though. Yeah.
Like I said, this isn't Dwayne Haskins. Then you're concerned. I laugh at the people that are concerned about Tua. It's like, okay, so how would you be if you had Dwayne Haskins? Would you be committing suicide or something? I mean, give me a break. One of the best things that can happen to Tua is to win this game, get a taste of winning that clutch game when chips are all on the line for the playoffs. If not, then we'll come back stronger with a normal offseason. I agree. Let's see. What's more important, getting into the playoffs or getting that 3rd pick? Getting to the playoffs is the most important thing. It's about winning. I got to tell you something, guys. If they end up with the 3rd or the 4th pick, I still have all the confidence in the world that Chris Greer is going to pick a heck of a player. I'm not worried about that. If I'm the first guy to tell you it's not where you pick, it's who you pick, okay? That's how you get Van Ginkel in the 5th round. You understand? Who's one of the best defensive players on this team? Andrew Van Ginkel. It's what's the order? X, Ogba, Van Ginkel. Am I wrong? Right? Am I wrong there, guys?
That's accurate.
Best 3 defensive players on the Dolphins. X, Ogba, Van Ginkel.
Yeah.
Okay.
But Van Ginkel's the turnovers, the play, man, that guy just.
So if you know what you're doing in the front office, listen. If you know what you're doing in the front office, of course you'll draft. Listen to this. If you know what you're doing in the front office, you get a shutdown corner in the second round in X. You get a bargain defensive end in Ogbud, $7 million, who's got 9 sacks already, and you get a 5th rounder in Van Ginkel, who's got 4.5 sacks, 3 forced fumbles, a fumble recovery, an interception, a touchdown. It's just, don't worry about that. I've always told you guys this. Don't worry about the draft pick, where it lands. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter at all. I mean, if you want, you can take advantage of a stupid-ass team like the Raiders, who draft Lynn Bowden in the 3rd round, and then they want to give up on him, so they want a 6th-rounder in return. Let's go. Here we go. Come on. Here's a 6th-rounder. Let me have him, you idiot. If you know what you're doing, you'll find it all over the place. And it doesn't have to be the 2nd, 3rd pick in the draft and all that. You'll get them later on in the draft. You'll find guys. That's why this maniac here that visits us all the time, he's been saying the entire time, I'd like to trade down from 3. And why? Because he sees what these guys do in the damn draft. So you get more picks. So if you get Justin Fields at 3rd and you drop down to 7 or 10, you're still going to get a hell of a player, and you're going to have extra picks. And you're going to give Chris Greer and Marvin Allen and Reggie McKenzie extra picks so they can go and find more players? Let's go. Bring it on, dude. I have total faith in this front office. Total. They show it to me all the time, bro. All the time. They didn't go for a running back. They just got some stopgap stuff. Breida for a 5th rounder. They signed Howard. Didn't work out. They went and found Salvon Ahmed, who helped them out a little bit. And then the Myles Gaskin kid they drafted in the 7th round last year. Look at the mileage they've gotten out of that kid. If you know what you're doing, you'll find talent all over the draft, man. See, I'm telling you. Don't ever worry about the draft position. All right, let's hear from Flo. Today he addressed the Meteors. I believe this was before the news Fitz came out, if I'm correct, that he had COVID. So let's see. I believe I'm right on this, but go ahead. Let's hear it.
Hi, Brian. Just wanted to ask you about a couple of offensive linemen. I know you can't judge players as rookies on a scale. You just judge how they play. How do you think Austin has played overall, and what Ted has given you this year at center? Just your thoughts on him as well, please.
I think Ted's given us leadership. I think he's given us good play. I think he's played, some good football. And I think he's improved over the course of the year. Same for Austin. I think he's improved over the course of the year. Was out for a little bit, fought his way back. So that's, showed some mental, physical toughness, getting through that. And then, again, I think he's improved and developed over the course of the season.
How?
Brian, we're seeing the forecast now saying 1 to 3 inches of snow on Sunday. How much of an impact might that have on your game plan and the way the game is called?
The elements are what they are.
Can't predict that until you're in it.
I don't see it having much of an impact. Played and coached in snow before, so 1 to 3 should be okay there as far as play calling and things of that nature. I don't see it being that big of an issue, to be honest with you.
I've seen snow games where you pass a lot. I've seen snow games where you run a lot.
Good morning, Flo.
Can't predict that.
It's the last day of what's probably been a difficult year for a lot of folks. What will you take most out of 2020, the year as a coach and as a man?
2020's been an interesting year. A lot has gone on with the pandemic and things like the George Floyd and Ahmaud Arbery and things like that. So it's been difficult for a lot of people. A lot of people, in the country, around the world. On the bright side, which I like to look at that. I mean, that time with when we were in lockdown, I got to spend a lot of time with my wife, my kids. So that was good, really good. I think we learned, about making sacrifices and not seeing your family and, things like that. And over Thanksgiving and Christmas, for us as a team, I know that may not be the case for everyone, but from 2020, for me, there was a lot of things that were difficult, but that time in March and April and May where really everyone was locked down and I would normally be, all our coaches would normally be on the road doing draft, this or that. I was with my wife and kids. I thought the draft was a lot of fun. My kids can't wait for the draft next year. You could sit here and talk about how, bad everything was, but there was some good, a lot of good also from a family standpoint. And I think the growth of this team, obviously I'm happy with that, but still trying to improve and develop like we always are.
Adam?
Hey, Flo, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe you told us growing up you were a Giants fan. Obviously, being from New York, that would make sense. I was curious, when you were young, did you understand the significance of Marino and Kelly and that rivalry, Bills Dolphins in the early 90s? And since you've been a coach, what more have you learned about how important this game is to a lot of the alumni and the fans?
I know the rivalry. I know it well. I think every game is important to the fans on both sides. Obviously, this is a division game, but the Dolphins fans, the Bills fans. These are diehard fans who root for their teams through thick and thin. So every game is important, and this one's no different. But there's a lot of great players, over the years on both sides. I'm just, I'm humbled and honored to be a part of it.
Stop it.
Hey, Flo, good morning and Happy New Year, or Happy New Year Eve. You spoke about the draft just a second ago, and the first round pick from Houston has the potential to be either number 3 or number 4. I know the draft's a couple months away, but just the thoughts on having such a high draft pick or potentially having such a high draft pick.
I'm not going to talk about that much now.
I talked about my kids enjoying the drafts. Look, I let Chris and the personnel staff handle, that stuff.
I got to talk about that.
Want to take what I said about my 6 and 7 year old and turn it into a draft question, but I'm focused on the Bills.
Of course,
we were reflecting on my family and the 2020 year, not the.
Not going to give any material
draft.
For 2021. He's focused
Chris and
right now.
Brandon, you guys, whenever you get
Got to
Chris,
stay in the moment.
Chris on one of these Zooms, you can talk to him about that stuff. But I'm focused on the Bills.
You should be.
Steve?
Brian, road teams have won almost exactly half the games in the league this year. Now that we're deep into the season and the intensity is ratcheting up, what are your thoughts about the effects that the pandemic and few or no fans has had on home field advantage?
It's still tough to win on the road, especially against a good team like this. I'm not sure. Every year is a little bit different. This year, the elements on the road. There's still elements that make it difficult. The number one element being the team across from us. Everyone's got good players, good coaches. Again, 2020 is a little bit different in that I guess you don't feel the effects of the crowd noise as you have in other years. but there's still, the strengths, of the other team that are still issues. The coaches and the adjustments they make. And I guess that's kind of, I would say it's not. I don't feel like it's easier. If that's to answer your question, it's still hard. It's still hard to win in this league. It's still hard to execute, especially when they got good players over there. It certainly doesn't feel easier. If that answers your question. And I'm not sure what the numbers are on. I know you just said 50%, but it certainly doesn't feel easy to win on the road.
Time for two more, Adam.
We've asked Chan over the last couple of weeks about his future, and obviously this is not the time to address that, I understand. But I just wanted to get your thinking behind when you hired a 68-year-old offensive coordinator, there will be questions about his longevity, obviously, here. What was your plan at the time, and has that changed?
So when you say this is not the time to ask this,
but you ask
and then ask it, I'm just trying to go through that. I think Chan's focused on the Bills, just like we're all focused on the Bills. And that's where I want his focus and energy. So I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, of course. He's not going to answer that kind of
Final
stuff.
question, Omar.
Yesterday, you said you're quite familiar with Brian Daboll in terms of his play calling. I'm assuming that's from your history with him in New England. What has made him effective in his stint in Buffalo as a play caller?
Well, I wouldn't say I'm familiar with him as a play caller. I'm familiar with him as an offensive mind. I think part of that, part of his being a good player is that I don't know what he's going to call. I think he's done a phenomenal job there with Allen in that offense. I think he's got a lot up his sleeve. He and I have had many conversations, offensively, defensively. You do this, I'm doing that. You do that, I'm doing this. And you see it all kind of coming to fruition in the way they play. So a lot of respect for him. And I certainly don't know what he's going to call. And that's what makes him good. He mixes the run, the pass, the shots, the screens. He's got every element to the offense, and they got good players and they execute. He's a damn good coach. And so is Sean, and so is Leslie. So is Heath Farwell. They have great coaches there. And they've done a really good job coaching those guys up. And they got talented roster as well. So put all that together and you have what you have, which is a very good team. But, Dave Ball's a good friend of mine. A great friend of mine, I would say. He's someone I have a lot of respect for. And, but we're going to compete on Sunday, and I know he'll have some bullets in his gun. I know that.
There you go. That's the head coach, Brian Flores, addressing the media today. And you always got to be careful as a reporter, and you got to remember that coaches, you got to learn who they are. And a guy like Brian Flores, I knew right away when they asked a couple of those questions, he wasn't going to answer now anything about the draft and a draft pick. He's in the middle of a season right now. He's trying to make the playoffs. He's not going to give you a distraction, because then that shows that he's worried about other things when he's got to be focused on this. His job is not to worry about the third pick in the draft. That's Chris's job. And when Chris gets down to 2 or 3 guys he likes, he says, hey, coach, I like these guys. What do you think? Give me your opinion. And then Brian goes and looks at but that's in the offseason. That's not now. Maybe Chris Greer right now is looking at the top 5 picks right now in the draft because he knows his team is going to be a top 5. That's his job. His job is foresight. His job is future. Not just now, but the future. Brian Flores' job, it's all now, dude. Okay? Now. And you think he's going to address anything on Chan Gailey now? Why? Why would he do that? Why does he want to create any kind of controversy or any distraction? One of the things you got to learn when you cover NFL teams, if you're asking a question about distractions, expect the answer already, more often than not, unless you're covering a guy that can get baited into the distractions on a consistent basis. Then you do it. But that guy, Flores, you're not baiting him to anything. Tua, you're not baiting him into anything. That's why he laughs when he goes, well, I know it's not the time to ask, but then Beasley goes on asking. It's like, and in a way, I think Beasley just took a shot because he kind of knew that he wasn't going to get an answer, but what if I do? So what's he going to tell me? Not going to answer it? That's it. And the good thing for Beasley is that Brian Flores is not a jerk. And so he doesn't become Mr. Jerk there at the moment and say, well, why the hell are you saying that it's not the time to ask? And then you ask it. So you know it's not the time to ask because right now I'm worried about a playoff game. I'm not worried about coaches or anything like that. I'm not worried about stuff for next year until next year comes. Then I can worry about it. Once our season's over, then I can do it. Then you can ask me about it. But now is the wrong time, right? Or you could be a Belichick like, I don't know why you're asking that. I'm worried about the Bills right now. Next question. That's it. So he's lucky that B-Flow is not a jerk. That's all, because he easily could have been a jerk at that moment. Let's see. What else? Okay, I don't know. I guess you guys are talking amongst yourselves here now.
Can I just mention one thing before the end of the year that I was thinking about, man, that's like actually really cool for us? Last night, us beating Milwaukee. You see, we answered. We came back. You know, Spoelstra.
Did I not say no? Don't panic. It's like
right,
ridiculous.
Dude, exactly. Spoelstra, you see what Flo's doing. You know what? The Marlins, after the COVID thing, and 60 players. And when you go 60, dude, you're talking about your AA, your AAA, your single A that got involved. We got to the playoffs.
It goes past your 40-man roster.
Yeah, right.
Well,
you 25-man roster in baseball. It was expanded out to 28. You went to like 60.
But you know the 40 that you're supposed to like those.
Those you're
protected.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. Like, dude, you went 20 pounds, like almost a whole nother team. Dude, you know what? We got a lot to be thankful for where our teams are headed.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Between the Marlins, what they're doing, obviously we see what our Dolphins are doing, and the Heat, and they're being what they are, man.
Yeah.
And last night that was a great answer.
Sports-wise, I mean, you know, the all these teams locally are doing really well.
Start paying attention, Manny.
Except for the Canes, yeah. The Canes are the only ones. Didn't FIU suck this year? Did they like win one game or something?
Yeah, it was a down.
Right? Didn't FIU
FAU made a bowl game, but I think they got.
So they're the only ones that were Well, I mean, Miami did make a bowl game, but just to get embarrassed.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, you know what I noticed? There were some teams that were 3-4, had a losing record, and were playing in a bowl game. It was like, what are you rewarding, man? Mediocrity? What the hell is going on?
Yeah, basically. FAU, by the way, lost to Memphis. They were 5-4 on the season. There you go. Let me see what FIU was. Let me look up FIU here. Oh, FIU didn't win a game. They were 0-5. 0-5. Yeah, that Butch Davis can really coach, man. Boy, that Butch Davis can coach, man. I always trip with fans. Like, the dude got on a great roll for recruiting. He did. He recruited his ass off like nobody's ever recruited. The problem was some of you out there, you mistaken recruiting with actual X's and O's. Okay? That's why he can't even dominate in Conference USA, and he won nothing at North Carolina. Once again, he won nothing at North Carolina. The only thing he could do in North Carolina was beat Randy Shannon. That's the only thing he could do. And guess what? Beating Randy Shannon isn't an accomplishment. So our college football teams around town have got to get on the ball and figure it out. Oh, let me give you my picks. Last week, we absolutely sucked. We went 1-3 in our picks. We ended up, let me see here. Where is it at here? Okay, here we go. We ended up losing the Dolphins game. We gave 3, lost 26-25. They won, but, we needed a couple more points to win. We picked Colts -1.5. They lost to Pitt 28-24. Hell of a comeback by Pitt. We went Seahawks -1.5. They won 20-9, so we won that one. And then we went with the Eagles -2.5. And Dallas just absolutely smoked them 37-17. So we ended up going 1-3. So we end up 35-35 on the year. We are now at 500 because of that terrible week. So we got 3 games we like. There's a lot of lopsided games here. There's a lot of games with double-digit points. I'm not comfortable with a lot of those games, especially not knowing what the hell is going to go on in the final week. Well, Rams have got all kinds of issues. The Cards are favored by 3. The over and under is 40.5. The Cards are -140 in the money line. Rams are 120. I like Cards in this one. They've been struggling lately. Rams have got all kinds of issues, and they don't have their quarterback. I like Cards here. I think that they'll win this one and pull it off. So I'm going to lay the 3 and get the Cardinals in the game.
You saw that DeAndre Hopkins didn't practice yesterday, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they got a couple other guys.
They do.
Christian Kirk and Larry Fitzgerald.
Okay.
And that kid has got wheels like there's not. You know who the Rams are starting?
Yeah.
John Wolford at quarterback?
Yes.
Okay, so that's why I'm going Cards.
He's a world beater.
Wolford at quarterback, I'm going Cards -3. New Orleans taking on the Panthers. Saints are favored by 6.5. The over and under is 47.5. New Orleans is -300. Panthers are +250. I'm going to go New Orleans here. Even if they bench Breeze, they can beat them with Taysom Hill. They can beat them with Bill at quarterback. They're a pretty good team with anybody at quarterback. I think they'll win by that touchdown. So lay the 6.5, New Orleans against the Panthers. Tennessee and Houston, a game that we want badly. We are all rooting for Tannehill, okay? We need Tannehill and company to dominate Houston. Why? That locks up the 3rd position in the draft for us. So actually, Tannehill can help out the Dolphins this week in their draft position. But having said all that, I don't believe that Deshaun Watson will play the whole game, maybe not even play the game. But really, why would you play? I find it stupid that they've been playing him the last couple of weeks, taking a beating for no reason at all. I'm going to lay the 7.5. I think Derrick Henry and company are going to run the hell out of the ball, and they're going to run over Houston, control the game like they normally do. Tennessee -7.5. The over and under is 56. I don't trust the quarterback on the other side because I'm not sure Deshaun Watson will play all 4 quarters. If he is, then yeah, with Brandon Cooks and company, he can put up some points. But I'm going to stay Tennessee -7.5 because I think they'll win by 10. Tennessee, by the way, is -355 on the money line. Houston is +295 in the money line. So my 3 picks, Cards -3, New Orleans -6.5, and Tennessee -7.5. Those are my picks. Dean G giving us a little love on the Super Chat. Dean G says, thanks, Big O, for all the shows. I listen to your shows, podcast every day. Happy New Year. Go Dolphins. We have a really good coach in Flores, and I believe in him. We'll go places. I agree, man. I agree. Football's going to be, it's going to be a lot of fun to watch. That's the beauty of what I think is coming up now. And, it's funny. Young people have no idea what it's like to have a really good pro football team in town because the Dolphins have sucked for a quarter century now. Right? They've been useless for a quarter century. They have been, what's that called? Irrelevant is the word. After being one of the great franchises in the league, one of the gold standards in the league, because that's what the Dolphins were for many, many years under Shula.
In the 80s, we were the most winningest sports professional franchise in the history of the world.
It was still going on in the 90s.
They still had it. I thought it was the end of the.
No, dude, we won a lot of games in the 90s.
I mean, we were the highest winning percentage.
I think it stopped
higher than the Yankees.
It started to go down under Jimmy. But the first
half
of the
start
90s,
of the slide.
Yeah, the first half of the 90s.
No. You and me bet on AFC Championship. We hosted Buffalo for the AFC Championship.
They won a lot. They were still holding that title. It might have been even into the late 90s that, like, as Jimmy was, he barely got in the playoffs most of the time and got spanked every time. But I think they were still holding on to it, maybe even into the late 90s.
The younger people would not.
No, they have no idea.
Yeah,
they have no idea. They have no. They barely know a good team.
What do you mean?
Barely, because it was in the early 2000s. So if you're 30-something, 35, you experienced a little bit of
23, 2003. You remember we end the season with that ass kicking by LSU, and we've never been the same.
Right? No, I know.
The
43-6 or whatever it was.
Yeah. The season before, of course, is the robbery. With the official
Ohio State,
2002. But, I mean, that's 17 years ago, bro.
Yeah. Right. Yep. Yeah, that's why for young people, the Heat are more important than the Dolphins. Because the Heat they've been relevant since Riley took over. They've been a relevant team all throughout for a quarter century. 25 years.
23 and 26 years or something.
Yeah, it's stupid.
Yeah,
stupid.
Look,
what Riley's done here is just Shula.
That is. I was just going to say it is when us growing up Dolphin fans, you were in the playoffs. It was about how far you're going to go.
I hate to say it. He passed Shula, just like Wade passed Marino, because they have more titles. You got to call it like you see it, dude. You know what I mean?
That's hell of a realism there.
But that's the truth, man. Basketball passed football in this town because of that. And to young people, it matters more. We lost a bunch of young fans in this town. They're rooting for a whole bunch of other teams.
Yeah, there's a lot of that.
Football, the Dolphins lost a lot of young fans. The young fans that are probably Dolphins are probably sons of dads that are Dolphins.
But that happens.
That passes on. You know what I'm saying?
Ready? You remember being a kid because of the Dolphins losing Super Bowl VI and being the first to never not score a touchdown 24-3 to Dallas. Mm-hmm. There was a lot of Dolphin fans that went to other teams because of. Do you remember that?
No. Oh, I don't.
We had kids in our block that were Minnesota fans and Dallas fans because of Super Bowl VI.
Well, Dallas, but Dallas always had,
I get
always
it, but,
been that team.
There's those people. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, definitely. I got you. Let's see, what else do we have here? Well, we're gonna wrap it up. Actually, thank you all out there as always.
We do have a show Saturday.
Yes, we will be back on Saturday. We'll be rocking over at Craig's Inn Acura of Pembroke Pines because we're off tomorrow. Off on onside, off here. I'm just going to relax. I'm off. Okay, let me chill. But anyway, seriously, it's been a great year. Thank you all out there for your amazing support. People like John Rouse, all of you out there that have always watched our shows, podcasted our shows, spread the word to people. Those of you that are also following us on Onside Radio, thank you. And supporting our other hosts there at Onside Radio, we appreciate it. Always support our sponsors. Make sure you use our name when you use our sponsors so we can have a strong 2021. And let's see if we can get out of this damn pandemic so we don't have to wear these things anymore. And we can actually, hang out and, you can hug a friend and shake hands maybe. I don't know if we're going to be shaking hands after all of this, but whatever. Fist bump.
Elbow bump.
Elbow, whatever. But, at least we could go to places. So let's be smart and be smart tonight. Be safe tonight. Okay, folks?
Do not drink and drive.
Yeah, don't please.
Ubers, man.
Yeah, definitely.
Lyft.
The police is going to be out there heavy.
And it's amateur night. There's a lot of people out there that aren't used to being out there, man. Be safe. Be safe, everybody, please.
We thank Steve Ostrov and Herbie Lopez, all the great people out here for making it great for us here this year. We will see you guys on Saturday at Craig's Inn, and that'll be next year. So we'll see you next year out there. We thank our super chatters, George Arthur, Man of 1,005 holds, Shake Money, Dean G. Thank you all out there.
I know that, dude. Where'd you get this?
Super chats.
Oh, gnarly. Awesome. Totally awesome.
That was for NorCal. We had to finish it off with a Spicoli in his honor.
And thank you all out there. You are all amazing. Appreciate you. We will see you on Saturday. Don't forget Sunday. We will have our post-game show at onsideradio.com. Download the MyTuner Radio app. It's called MyTuner Radio. Download that app. Search for Onside Radio. Lock it in. We'll be on after the Dolphins beat the Bills on Sunday and get their 11th win of the year. Tua will be magnificent. Love you all. Be good.
Happy New Year, everybody. Be safe. We'll talk to you Saturday.